It was 3 a.m. when I woke up in the dark. The room was cold. I could see my breath. The wind outside hit the old windows like angry hands. My hands were shaking. My back hurt. My body felt weak. But I got out of bed. I walked to the small bed next to mine. I looked down. He was still there, my baby boy. His name is Noah. His small chest moved up and down. I put my hand on his soft head. Warm, safe, alive. My heart beat faster, not from love, from fear. I looked at the wall. It had a crack. The cold came in from that crack. I had no money to fix it. I had no money for many things. I had no husband, no help, just me and Noah. I was 24. I was broke. I was scared. Last night, I only ate a piece of bread. I gave the soup to my grandma. She's 74. She needs it more. Noah had milk. That's all I care about. If he's full, I'm full. But I wasn't always like this. I once had a plan. I once had hope. I wanted to open a small cake shop in town. I wanted to live a quiet life in Billings, Montana. I wanted a man who stayed, not one who smiled, said sweet things, and left when I needed him most. His name was Dylan. He took photos. He told stories. He said he loved my smile. He said we could build a life here. I believed him. I was stupid. When I told him I was going to have his baby, he looked at the floor. Then he looked at the door. Then he left. That's how my story began. A baby, a storm, a boy who ran, and me, Hannah, alone in the cold, with a child in my arms and snow on my roof. I did not cry that night. I didn't have time. I just held my belly and said, "You are coming into a world that is hard, but I will be soft. I will be home." And I meant it. Even if no one else stayed, I would. I still remember the smell of the hospital room. It was not clean. It was not warm. But when I heard Noah cry for the first time, the cold air didn't matter. I cried too. Not because I was sad, but because I was afraid, and happy, and tired, all at the same time. The nurse gave him to me. He was so small. His eyes were closed. His hand held my finger. He was here. He was real. And I was his mom. I had no ring. I had no man waiting outside. Just me, holding my baby boy. The nurse asked, "Is someone coming to help you go home?" I said, "No one is coming." She looked at me for a second, then smiled, soft and kind. "You are strong," she said. I smiled back, but inside I was shaking. 3 days later, I was home. It was snowing. The wind hit my face like a slap. I held Noah tight inside my coat. My grandma opened the door. She looked older than last week. I knew she was tired too. She said, "Come in fast. He's too small for this cold." We had one heater in the living room. We had 4 rooms, but we only used 2 to save power, to save money. I put Noah in a small box with a soft towel. It was not a real baby bed, but it was clean. It was warm. That night, he cried a lot. I walked around the small room. I sang old songs, songs my mom once sang. I don't know if I sang well, but it made him stop crying. That was all I needed. My grandma brought me tea. She said, "Sleep when the baby sleeps." I said, "I'll try." But I didn't sleep. I watched him. I thought, how do I do this? How do I keep him safe? I went back to work when Noah was 8 weeks old. My body still hurt. My hands were dry. My eyes were red from not sleeping. But we needed food. We needed soap. We needed diapers. So I said goodbye to my baby and took the bus to the diner. The place smelled like old oil and strong coffee. I tied my apron and started work. Table 5 needs water. Pick up the food for 6. Smile more. I smiled so much. My face felt tired. But I kept going. I needed those dollars. I called Grandma on my lunch break. I asked, "Is he okay?" She said, "He cried. Then he slept. He's okay." I said, "Tell him I love him." She said, "He knows." At the end of the day, I walked home. My feet were on fire. My back felt like glass. But when I opened the door, I forgot all that. Noah was there, in Grandma's arms. He saw me. His face lit up. His little arms moved fast. He made a small sound. My name? That night, after his bath, I held him close. I told him, "We will be okay. I don't know how, but we will." He looked at me. He didn't talk, but in that small look, I felt love. Real love. The kind that fills you up when you feel empty. I worked at the diner 5 days a week. I cleaned houses on Sunday. I took any job I could. My hands smelled like lemon and bleach, but they also smelled like baby lotion. That mix became the smell of my life. I missed sleep. I missed quiet. I missed myself. But I never missed a hug. I never missed a kiss from Noah. Sometimes at night, I sat by the small window. I looked at the streetlight. I said, "God, please help me. Just keep him safe. That's all." We didn't have much, but we had each other. You still with me? You still breathing okay? Don't forget to care for yourself. A soft drink, a deep breath. If this story touches your heart, just press 7 so I know you're here. Let's go deeper into the story. When Noah turned 1, I baked him a cake. It was small and sweet, just like him. I found a balloon at the dollar store. I wrote his name on it with a black marker. He didn't understand what birthdays were, but when I sang to him, he smiled so big, I cried. Grandma gave him a small toy truck. He held it all night. I took a picture. That photo sat on my wall for years. That moment, just us 3, felt like magic. 2 days later, the diner cut my hours. They said it was slow. I smiled and said, "Okay." But inside, I felt like falling. Rent was due in 12 days. My wallet had $61. That night, I could not sleep. I held Noah close. He was warm and safe, but I was scared, very scared. I looked online for work. I typed fast, cleaner, babysitter, anything. My eyes hurt, my back hurt, but I kept searching. 3 days later, I got a call. A woman needed help at her house. She said, "It's in Brentwood." That was 45 minutes away by bus. I said, "I'll be there." Her name was Mrs. Powell. She lived in a big white house with tall windows and a red door. I stood at the steps, holding my bag. I was cold. My shoes were wet. She opened the door and said, "You're on time. I like that." She had short gray hair and strong eyes. Her home was very clean, but she said she needed someone to help twice a week. I nodded. I said yes to anything. I cleaned the kitchen. I scrubbed the floor. I washed her windows until they shined. She said, "You work hard." I said, "Thank you." I wanted to cry. Her words felt soft, like a hug. When I left, she handed me $80. My hands shook. That was more than I made in 2 days at the diner. I said, "Thank you." She said, "Come back Friday." That bus ride home felt like hope. I looked at my hands. They were red, but they held money. Money for food, money for rent, money for Noah. We might be okay. The days got colder. The air felt sharp. We had snow in late October, thick white snow that covered the cars, the road, the roof. I had to wake at 4 a.m. to warm the small house. The wood for the fire was almost gone. I used what we had. I burned old papers too. I didn't care. I just wanted Noah to stay warm. Noah had a cough that week. It was deep. It hurt me more than it hurt him. I took him to the small clinic in town. The nurse checked him. She said, "It's not bad. Just keep him warm. Give him water." I nodded. I smiled. But inside, I wanted to cry. At home, I held him all night. His skin was warm. His breath was fast. I gave him water every hour. I kissed his face. I told him, "It's okay, baby. Mama's here." I didn't go to the diner that day. I called in. I said I was sick, but they knew I was not sick. My baby was. They said, "Okay, but we will cut your next shift." I said, "I understand." And I did. That night, I made soup with just water, carrots, and a small bit of rice. I fed Grandma first, then Noah. Then I had a few spoons left for me. It was warm. It helped. I sat by the window again. The wind hit the glass. The world outside was white and still. Inside, I heard Noah breathe. That sound was everything to me. I wrote in my notebook, "Cold hands, warm baby, that is all I need." My back hurt, my eyes were dry, but I kept going. I had no choice. I wasn't living for me anymore. I was living for Noah. You still there, friend? I hope your heart's okay. It means a lot to me that you're still here. Take a deep breath. Wrap yourself in something warm. And if this story means something to you, just press 7. Now, let's keep walking with Hannah. 2 weeks after Noah got better, something strange happened. I was cleaning the living room in Mrs. Powell's house. The sun came in through the big window. I had soft music playing low. Then the front door opened. I thought it was her. But it wasn't. A man walked in. He looked about 30. Tall, kind eyes, clean boots. He smiled when he saw me. I stepped back. My hands still held the wet cloth. "Hi," he said. "I'm Ben. I'm her son." I said, "Oh, okay. She didn't say you were coming." He smiled again. "She never does. I come to fix the sink." I moved so he could pass. He walked into the kitchen. I stayed in the living room, but I could hear him work. He sang a little song while fixing things. It made me smile. Later, I went to check the trash. He was near the door. He looked at me and said, "You cleaned the windows?" I said, "Yes." He said, "They shine like water." I laughed a little. "Thanks," I said. He walked out, but then he turned back. "You live close?" I said, "Kind of." He nodded. "Well, see you next time, window girl." That night, I didn't sleep much. Not from worry, from something else. Something I forgot I could feel. A soft buzz inside me. The next Friday, he came again. This time, with new tools and 2 small cookies in a bag. He gave one to me. "It's not much," he said, "but it's sweet." I smiled. "It is." We talked for a while after work. Not deep things, just about the snow, the town, the music we liked, but it felt light. It felt real. I didn't tell him about Noah. Not yet. I didn't tell him about Dylan. I wasn't ready, but I wanted to see him again. Ben came more often, sometimes to fix things, sometimes to bring flowers to his mom, sometimes just to sit and talk for a few minutes before I left. One day, as I was putting on my coat, he looked at me and said, "Do you want to get coffee this weekend?" My heart jumped. I didn't speak right away. I looked down. Then I said, "I have a son." He nodded slow. "Okay, that's good to know. I like kids." I didn't expect that. Most men walked away when I said the word son, but not Ben. He stayed right there, still smiling. I told him about Noah. I told him about the diner, the nights with no sleep, the fear, the soup made from nothing. I told him all of it, even about Dylan. He didn't run. He just said, "You're strong. That's the kind of person I want to know better." We had coffee 2 days later. It was cold outside, but he brought me a small, warm drink and said, "For your hands." We sat in a quiet place and talked for over an hour. It felt like 5 minutes. After that, he came by more. One night, he brought a toy truck. "For Noah," he said. Noah smiled. He liked Ben's voice. They played with blocks on the floor while I made tea. My eyes filled with tears. I didn't say anything. I just watched. That night, after Ben left, Grandma looked at me. She said, "He's kind. Don't be afraid of kind." I held those words in my heart. It was a Sunday morning when I saw Dylan again. I was walking home from the market. My arms were full of food, milk, bread, apples for Noah. The wind was soft that day. My heart was light. Then I heard my name, Hannah. I turned fast. My whole body froze. It was him. Dylan stood across the street. His face looked the same, but his eyes looked tired. He walked over. I couldn't move. He said, "You look good." I didn't speak. He said, Is that our son?" I held the bag tighter. "His name is Noah, and yes, he's your son. You left before he was born." He looked at the ground, then at me. I was scared. I said, "So was I," but I stayed. There was a long, hard pause. Then he asked, "Can I see him?" I shook my head. "You don't get to walk back into our life like that." He looked hurt, but I didn't care. I had held too many nights alone. I had walked through fire to keep Noah safe. He said, "I want to do better now." I said, "You had your chance." Then I turned and walked away. My hands shook. My heart beat fast, but I didn't cry. Not this time. When I got home, Ben was there. He was sitting on the floor with Noah, building a house with blocks. He looked up and smiled. "You okay?" I sat beside him and nodded. That night, I told him everything. He listened. He didn't speak right away. Then he said, "You did what he could not. You gave love." He kissed my hand. 1 week later, Ben came by with a small box. It was white with a red string. He said, "It's nothing big, just something for you." I opened it slow. Inside was a silver ring. Not shiny, not rich, but soft, warm, real. I looked up at him. "What's this?" He smiled. "A promise. Not to fix your life, but to walk with you in it. Every part. If you'll let me." I didn't speak. My hands shook. My eyes filled with water. Noah was playing in the next room. His little laugh filled the air. I said, "Yes." That night, we had dinner at our small table. Just soup and bread, but it felt like a feast. Grandma was there. She said, "You found good love." I smiled. I think I did. After dinner, Ben sat with Noah. They looked at picture books. Noah pointed at each page. "What's this?" he asked. Ben answered every time. His voice was soft and patient. I watched them from the kitchen. I held my hands over my heart. I whispered, "Thank you." The next morning, I woke up early. The sky was pink. I made coffee and stood at the window. I thought about all the nights I cried, all the doors that stayed closed, all the food I went without. And now? Now I had a little home, a warm boy, a kind man, and a future that looked, maybe for the first time, and safe. The wedding was small, just 10 people. We stood in the little garden outside Grandma's house. The sun was soft, the sky was clear. Noah held the flowers. Ben stood next to me, holding my hand. He looked into my eyes and said, "I will never leave." I said the same words back. After we said, "I do," Grandma gave us her blessing with a soft voice. She said, "Now, you are not 2 people. You are 1 home." We all laughed and ate cake. Noah got icing on his nose. Ben wiped it off and kissed his cheek. I took a picture. That one moment stayed in my heart like gold. That night, when it was just us 3 again, I sat on the floor and pulled Noah close. "You are the reason I got here," I whispered. "You saved me too." He looked up and said, Mama, are we happy now? I smiled. Yes, baby, we are happy now. We didn't have a big house. We didn't have a lot of money. But we had peace. And we had love. That was enough. More than enough. I still worked. Ben worked too. Life wasn't always easy. Some days were long, but we faced them as a team. Sometimes I walk past that bus stop, the one where it all started. I stop and sit, just for a second. I think of that girl with the small bag and the baby on her hip. I want to tell her, you made it. So now I tell you, if you're that girl, or that boy, or that mother, or that father, if you are in the hard part of your story, hold on. The good part is coming. Hey, are you still there? Still with me at the end? Please take a deep breath. Drink some water. And if this story touched your heart, even just a little, press 7 so I know you were here. Thank you for walking with me. If you liked the story, comment number 7. If you think the story could be better, comment number 8. We are always here, working hard to bring you the best stories. Thank you for watching, our dear friends. Your support means everything to us. See you in the next story.